Welcome to this installment of Creative Cabin Fever. On tonight's show, we have Death Can Wait. So let's get a move on. Introduce yourself, guys.
So we're Death Can Wait. I'm Shane.
I'm Brian.
I'm David, the guitarist.
Okay, nice to meet you guys. Obviously, I started listening to your music very recently because you got in touch with me, which is brilliant. So really excited to talk to you guys about your music. But what we're really focusing on at the moment, I guess, is creativity in lockdown. So what's life been like for you guys since the quarantine started?
Messy, chaotic, I'd say. It's been tricky because, we're used to getting together like literally every week, and it's, obviously never a problem seeing each other. Whereas now, the first time I saw one of the guys lately was last weekend, which was like after 6 weeks space, I think. So we just had to figure a way of just getting out, remaining safe, gloves on, mask on, all that sort of gear. I think it's becoming easier to adapt to, but it's still complex. I haven't seen Shane since the lockdown at all, because he lives a bit further out of town from us. So yeah, it's been messy to say the least.
Yeah, everyone, I suppose it's 7 weeks now really for everyone, and everyone's kind of having trouble getting in touch. Are you guys using Zoom or anything like for like band chats or?
We tried using FaceTime on Facebook, but it's not the same because everything's lagging behind. So it's impossible to do like a band practice, if you'd like to call that, on FaceTime, because it's not going to happen. So we've been like sending like recordings of what we're doing like individually, and then kind of sending them on to each other and just seeing what can happen from there. But trying to get everything all in one is just it's nearly impossible. But like, we know when we meet up again it's going to be different, but it's just now because we're all individual and we all have different plans and different ideas right now. It's hard to coordinate something proper, you know.
Yeah, a lot of bands have been recommending using BandLab to do collaborations while in this time. So it's a really handy kind of app that a lot of bands are using in order to be able to still create music in this crazy time, because we're all on the same buzz. You know what I mean? It's difficult for everyone. So yeah, I assume face chat and stuff like that is quite difficult because you're right, the lag and everything. Like when I started doing the interviews, I was using Skype at first, and that really wasn't working for me. So Zoom is definitely a better format for that.
Yeah, BandLab. I don't think any of us have tried to use BandLab, but I don't know. Like with FaceTime, I just don't think personally that online kind of stuff can work properly. I think everybody has to be in the same room, everything plugged in, and just work from there, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely a completely different flow.
Oh yeah, definitely.
How's everyone else been finding it?
Tough. Definitely tough. It's it's the same stuff that David said. And Brian as well. It's tough to not be able to meet up and actually practice. All of us have so many ideas, and we're starting to write new music again after releasing our EP, and we have so many ideas on songs that we want to try and work out, mess around with them, but it's very difficult to do it just by sending each other recordings of songs, because like you don't hear it as a whole, and it's definitely very difficult, and you miss it as well. You get used to playing week in week out gigs, band practices and stuff like that, and you definitely miss it as well.
No, absolutely. That sense of connection and that community, that's very important within a band. Like it definitely is very different and it's a struggle for everyone, you know. So I feel you. Have you guys been discovering anything new about yourselves, that things that maybe you were putting on the long finger that you weren't really doing before now, but now you have all this extra time? Is there anything new going on or?
For me, all that time is just going into college because I'm in final year, so I don't really get to do a whole lot other than sit at the laptop and type.
I've just been, for some reason, being in isolation has just made me, I don't know, more productive with music, because I don't know, I kind of neglect the guitar sometimes, but like now that I have that much time, like I'm after being able to write way more stuff than I usually would be able to write.
I've been hopping off my side project, Scrub. It's a solo thing I've been doing for years, and there's about 10 or 12 covers I've wanted to do for years. So I've actually started almost doing one a week now. But still, as Dave was saying, I mean, even though we're not using, the lab program or anything like that, like Dave's still writing riffs. And I can take some of those riffs and I can start putting lyrics and floor or whatever behind them. So, it's not completely zero production or anything. So it's not the end of the world.
And yourself, Patrick, anything?
I'm very much so in the same boat as Shane. A lot of college work, just trying to stay on top of everything. But other than that, I actually picked up yoga. I started started yoga to kind of kill the boredom and all. And it's interesting. So I've been messing around with different things, but musically I find it tough to pick up any new habits because I live in an estate, so I cannot play my actual drum kit. I don't have it at home, so I'm stuck with a very small, kind of broken up electric drum kit, and I just can't really work that well on it because I don't have the double bass pedal on it and all as well. So it's tough from a music point of view anyway to kind of figure anything new out.
Yeah, no, it's great that you're discovering yoga because that's a really powerful tool for
Yeah.
self-care. Like everyone should do it, especially musicians, because you're hunched up the whole time or you're standing tall the whole time, so your posture is kind of screwed, you know. It's definitely very helpful for me. I do quite a lot of yoga myself, so at least that's a new discovery, I guess. Usually one of the questions I love to ask musicians is, what was the first song you fell in love with? Because I believe it's your gateway drug into the rock and roll industry. So whoever wants to start that.
Wow.
Brian, go.
First song I fell in love with, I would say Strapping Young Lad Detox. I think it was about 15 or 16. I mean, I had heard obviously like Guns N' Roses, Nirvana, stuff like that before. But even to this day, that song by Strapping Young Lad is still my favorite song of all time. And that's after, Jesus, nearly 20, 21 years. So it's a pretty damn strong one. Dave?
All right. For me, there's too many, but I do remember getting into Slipknot first properly, and that's when like the obsession started. So I don't know. I guess like Wait and Bleed by Slipknot probably. I remember that vividly, like just listening to that and just the way they present themselves and everything. It's just I don't know. It's just the way they hold themselves and they're on stage, and just that song specifically, it's brilliant.
Yeah, no, I went to see them there again in January. It was my third time seeing them live. There's something very special. Wait and Bleed is actually my anger song. So if me and my 3-year-old can't get our anger out, we have a little mosh to Wait and Bleed until we feel better.
I saw them there as well last time they played in January as well, but they still have it. Like, it's amazing what they do.
Yeah, no, they're very, very special. Patrick, how about yourself?
mine's actually interesting. I think the the first song I remember really like connecting to and just being obsessed with it was probably, I think it was called "Pass Out" by Tiny Tempa. It's interesting because it's rap and it's different, but I remember I think I was about 11 maybe when I started listening to it, and just the rhythm and the flow and the percussion and just the energy of the song itself. I remember being obsessed with it. I think I listened to it for months on repeat. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, and I suppose as a drummer, obviously the beat would be something that's very important to you. So it's magic that that's actually what impacted you first in a song, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And how about yourself, Shane?
Um, I don't know. What kind of got me into music was Guitar Hero. Kind of just was the first thing that got me kind of like entertaining the idea of, like picking up an instrument or whatever. And then I started watching like the music channels on Sky and all. And I think the first song I was watching, one of them anyway, on a song called Quicksand by a band called The Story So Far came on. And I just loved it from the first time I heard it. And I used to just keep the channel on all the time so that they would play the song again, because it was weird. Like they would only play like the same 10 songs every hour or something. So I knew it would come back on. And this was like before we had like good enough internet that I could look it up on YouTube or anything. So probably that one.
Yeah, no, it's mad how music has progressed. Like I remember when I fell in love with my first big band, like I actually had to go to different music shops to try and get their back catalogue so I could digest them, because there was no such thing as YouTube even back then, you know. It was the only way you could discover music was by actually going into a music shop, or if you bought like Kerrang magazine, you'd get like whatever came with the annual and you'd be able to digest music that way, you know. But yeah, it's mad. It's great that there was things like Kerrang and that you could learn like about new music, or you had MTV and you could have all the unplugged sessions and see what quality music was out there and just allow yourself to be lost. Like it is a shame that MTV is now all about catfish and teen moms, but that's the way the world is, you know.
My Sweet 16.
But your Scuzz is gone now as well.
Yeah.
Just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I miss Headbangers Ball.
Before my time.
I figure.
So a question I'm asking a lot as well is because obviously we're all on lockdown, so we're listening probably to a lot more music than usual. And I'm really interested in discovering new bands. So what music would you recommend I should be listening to right now? Irish band or other? Who are you completely obsessed with in this COVID time?
Wow. Irish band, The Risen Dread. They're good friends of ours. And they were actually supposed to go on a tour before this all kicked off, their first tour in Europe. And that got postponed as well. It was tragic to actually see it happening to them, I mean, I'm still working full time, so I wouldn't say I'm really listening to much new. I got Beck's new album, which is an odd one. Listen to a lot of Prince, as per usual. But basically just going in with my old school iPod and plugging in and listening to tons of different gear. But it's pretty random, like, it could be anything from one day to the next. So as for anything new, not really. Not really, not at all, actually.
For me, anyway, the same with Brian. I did like the Risen Dread quite a bit. I think what they do is a bit different, something different, And I like Following the Signs, are another Irish band. And again, they're doing something, different here. It's just something else. And for what I'm listening to, like, I think is bringing something new is definitely Code Orange. I think Code Orange are next level. They're after, I don't know, like they brought out their new album there underneath, and it's amazing. It's after bringing back, because I think a lot of music now is kind of going back. So like, I think last year, 2018, there was like a wave of like 80s stuff, and now it's kind of, I feel like now it's like 90s. and Code Orange are after going back to the 90s. So like they have proper like ballads and like just 90s sing along songs with like some industrial. And it's next level. I absolutely adore it.
Is that me, is it?
Yeah.
For a band I'm listening to the whole time at the minute is this band called Knuckle Puck, who I actually kind of stopped listening to for a while. I don't know why, but I was like, oh, woke up one day and I was like, oh yeah, Knuckle Puck, and I put them on about a week ago, and I have had them on since. And for an Irish band, yeah, The Risen Dread and Following the Signs are brilliant, especially live because there's so much energy. But another Irish band that I'm listening to a lot at the minute is God Alone. I just think they're ridiculous, like just so clever. And it's just really, you can get really into it, like, you know.
For me, definitely The Risen Dread, Following the Signs, God Alone, brilliant bands. I think a band that really stood out to me this year have been Peasant to a King. I saw them, we played with them at Metal to the Masses, and I remember being blown away by just the energy they were able to portray up on stage. They got up, and I mean, they rocked the place. They got the whole place moving, and I was like, wow, these lads are coming from the same places as us, you know, and they're playing music like that. I absolutely loved it, and I've been listening to a lot of stuff. Well, a band that I've been falling in love with are Dealer from Australia. They're quite small, or I think they are anyway. I'm not sure, but their EP, I can't remember the name, but I absolutely love it.
Yeah, no, I'd be quite a fan as well. Brilliant. And I was really getting excited for May because Thoughts of Ruin were getting back together. So that's on the Metal Buzz that you're all in. And I was like, yay, I finally get to see the boys again. And then obviously this all
It's all
happened,
done.
you know. So
It's just miserable. Like I was supposed to go see Cattle Decapitation, and it's kind of ironic because Cattle Decapitation are all like, they're like, I think, well, I don't think all of them are vegan, but most of them are vegan. But they're vegan, and they just think the world is just awful, and that it's gonna end. And then they call their tour Euro Pandemic or something, Euro Pandemic tour, before this all happened, and then this happened, and that was it's just funny because, you know, pandemic
Cancelled
now.
because of actual pandemic.
ooh, maybe we should pin this on them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, there's so many gigs that are just gone. So I'm really interested in hearing what you guys' favorite moments from gigs are like, whether they were recent or gigs you did yourselves or gigs you actually went to, just to give people a memory and a buzz, because gigs are just so freaking important. And when this is all over, I want everyone to go to every single gig they possibly can. So let's make them want it.
You go first, Brian.
On my last count, I think I've seen 500 bands live. So towards things that have happened at gigs, when I saw Prince, he spoke to me. I was front row. He told me I couldn't sing. It was one of the greatest days of my life. Seriously, couldn't believe it. Like, met Peter Steele from Type O Negative, shook his hand, got an autograph. Like, it was amazing. I was at the Smashing Pumpkins gig in '96, where a girl actually got crushed, and that's where all these security gig restrictions towards moshing and crowd surfing and all that came in, you know. Other than that, off the top of my head, I can't really think of any, but I don't know, gigs for the future. Skinny Puppy would be nice.
That would be nice.
I've never seen him. I'm a huge fan, and I've never seen him, so I'm still, you know, holding on to that one.
Yeah, I'm so bulling that like Sunstroke was cancelled, because like you had the Meat Puppets, the Distillers, the Deftones.
Deftones.
Deftones are my second favorite band of all time. So I've seen them a ton, like, My son was meant to be born to them, actually. They were on my birth soundtrack, but he decided to
Ah,
come out to Rodriguez instead. So look.
cool.
And for me, anyway, I remember going to a gig with Patrick in England there, in what was it called? What was it called, Pat?
Was that the Never Say Die tour?
No, it was
No. Oh my God, no.
uh,
Was the record label Make Them
I
Suffer
can't
and all on it? I
Make Them
forgot the
Suffer. Yeah.
name of it.
Now, me and Pa went over to see Make Them Suffer specifically because at the time, me and Pa were absolutely obsessed with Make Them Suffer. Like they're kind of, I guess they'd be an underground deathcore band. They're getting bigger now anyway, but yeah, Make Them Suffer, Karen Effects, Whitechapel, Toyarta's Murder, Portal, and Fallujah. It was just one of those perfect lineups, and I just thought we had to go. Like it was just one of those gigs where like you'd actually go somewhere else to go see them, and I just thought that was brilliant. And yeah, for now, what I'd like to see from gigs now is just I don't know,
Beating
more.
on.
Yeah, just get it going basically, and it's just been too long, and I don't want this to drag on where it's just when everything comes back to normal, it's just back to normal, I guess. But like, I'd like it to keep going and just get more interaction and just more people come out.
For me, I went to a gig in Waterford in Central Arts in January 2018 to see. It was Baylor, No Great Loss, and Worn Out. And I hadn't really been to many local gigs before. And I think it was the first proper like all metal lineup, like local show I'd went to. And I went with my best friend Scott, and we didn't really know what to expect. But we got in there, and from the minute we got in there, it was just fucking madness. It was crazy. Like it was like the stage was there, but nobody was paying any attention to the limits of where the stage was. It was so intense. It was brilliant. Like it was bring your own beer, but to be honest, I don't think we even drank any of it because we were just having that much crack. Like, yeah, just couldn't really pick one moment out of it. It was the whole thing was just savage crack. And that's the kind of thing I'm looking forward to now once this is over. So I think it's the smaller shows that are a better atmosphere and better crack.
Yeah, Viking Promotions were actually meant to put on an all metal gig in Waterford in May, and I was going to call it Maytal, and I was going to try and do it the same weekend as the one in Limerick. What's it called? Iron Siege, is it?
Oh, the Siege.
Siege of Limerick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to try do it the Sunday, but then obviously March happened, and I hadn't all the cogs in place, and I was like, right, just forget about Maytal, just forget about it, like, because I would have been
Next year.
big metalhead back in the day, and when I would have done music first, Waterford was known for metal gigs, and even all the way through my teen years it was just reputed for it, like.
Yep.
So I really want to see a resurgence of metal in Waterford specifically, like obviously everywhere it deserves its own mention, you know, but yeah, death to Maytal this year anyway.
Sad times.
For me, my favorite gig moment would be probably kind of the opposite of Shane's one. It was a huge gig. Me and David and our friend Joe, we went to Poland, and we went to Woodstock Festival. It's called Poland Rock now because there were some issues with copyright over the American Woodstock, but yeah, it was still called Woodstock back then, 2016 I think, and Bring Me the Horizon were one of the headliners for it. And I was already in love with them at that stage, and just getting to see them live, surrounded by like hundreds of thousands of people, and all, it was just. I don't have any specific moment of the gig that I love. It's more so just the whole concert in general. The set they put on was amazing, and the energy was deadly as well. I just absolutely loved it. Like, brought me to tears. So.
That's a great thing about music, isn't it? The emotions you feel around it, like the fact that it can bring you so much joy, that it can bring you to tears, that it just moves emotion. Like music is magic, you know?
It's best when it accidentally brings you to tears.
Yeah. Catch you by surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, those hairs on your arms just stand up out of nowhere and you're like, what's that feeling in my tummy?
Why am I crying?
Yeah. Joy, elation. Forget about it.
So my newest question that I've been using a lot and people have seemed to have mad answers for, and I think it works really well, is what's the first thing you're going to do when you get out of lockdown? So obviously for you, Brian, you're still working, but like, I mean, when things open up again, right?
Oh man, as far as I'm concerned, I want us to get in the band room and not leave it for about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. I want to use up every holiday that I've got. Bit, you know, barely eat, barely drink, just jam, nonstop. There's, as far as I'm concerned, by the time we get over this, we're gonna have about 2 albums worth of gear ready to go. As far as I'm concerned, seriously, like this is boiling up.
I'm definitely, well, it depends on the day that it stops. If it stops on like I don't know, a Thursday or Friday, I'm going to the pub. Because we practice on Sundays. So if it's a Friday, if it's a Saturday, we're going to band room first thing on Sunday and we're just going to practice what we've been mulling over for the past month, 2 months nearly. But if it's a Friday, I'm going to the pub.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're definitely gonna be spending like that weekend in the band room, and it's gonna be long hours. Sometimes we go out and we practice, and it could be only like 2 or 3 hours because I could have work or something. Well, back in the day, we used to probably like 6-hour practices. There'll probably be more of them.
I hope so.
I'm the same as David. I'm either going to be in the band room or in the pub. So
Cool. Is there anything else you guys want to add to the interview before I let you go?
I thought of another band.
Okay.
My mate Scott is in a band called The Scoops. They're actually based in Waterford. And they have a single coming out next month.
Yeah, I've heard of them. They've been liking what I'm doing, so.
Yeah. Oh, they're lit.
I don't have anything anyway.
Well, our EP is out this Saturday. Our
Yeah.
Saturday.
EP this
Is
Saturday.
it Friday?
It's no 25th, Saturday.
I have no idea what day it is, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, who's in chat?
25th this Saturday. The EP is officially out. 6 tracks, and I fucking love them. Love them. So
they're alright.
your bass is good.
Okay, well that's super exciting. What are you calling the EP?
Self-Portrait. Yeah, we recorded in the Orchard Studios here in Enniscorthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, 6 originals, and they're as heavy as hell. Big time.
And soft as well.
Yeah, there's a few softer, sad ones in there as well. So,
Sad boy moments.
yeah.
But that's the thing though, like with metal, it just seems like there's this battleness for heaviness. And like, yeah, the heaviness is amazing sometimes, but you know, sometimes you just gotta calm it down, and
Yeah.
that's what we wanted to write.
Can't paint the whole thing black, like.
Yeah, variation.
Yeah, like
Variation.
life's all about the grey and the gradients and the variations. Like the duality of life is kind of what makes it beautiful. So the soft goes with the hard, and
Yeah.
it'll balance out really nicely, I think.
Yeah, there's always ups and downs, and you have to represent that through what you make.
Yeah, actually, there's another question. So, like, do you find your creative process has changed? So obviously you can't meet up, so you're not able to do stuff like that. But is the way that you're creating music, aside from not being able to be together, like your approach to the creation of the music, has that changed at all?
Mine, because of the solo project, is still the same, because I record a lot of my own gear here. I've got my own like little set up. You know what I mean? So that's still the same as ever. Oh, I'm writing a lot of lyrics that are seriously pissed off about the world right now. I mean, that's nothing new, but just with what's going on, like right now, it's like, oh man, it's absolute chaos. So definitely a lot of lyrics. Like I write lyrics all the time anyway, but right now, absolute like just world chaos. Yeah, there's a lot of lyrics being set up for the future for that. I think I can imagine a lot of bands and a lot of people are going, like even movies and stuff like that are going to be about 2020, what actually happened and how it affected people, so on and so forth, you know.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of creativity coming out of it in one way or another. Do you know what I mean? People are getting their emotions out. Like there's beautiful poems being written, books.
Yeah. Like I think literally as soon as this lockdown happened, one of the things that occurred to me was you have to keep in mind that no great book, no great painting, no great album was ever made outdoors. Never was. So now that all these artists and creative people are locked indoors, the amount of art that's coming out for 2020, I can imagine just being mind-blowing, unreal. You know, I guess it's hopefully it shook a lot of things up in the art music world. We'll see that in the future, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm seeing so much creativity and I'm really excited. People that I've wanted to see create again for about a decade haven't been doing it until this very moment in time. And I was like, okay, it's kind of crap, but it's kind of super exciting.
Serious.
Yeah, and I suppose it also gives us this mad, like, because we're never going to see this again in our lifetimes, I hope, right? So it's a really weird time, and that's why I want to do Creative Cabin Fever, just to have a log of this. Because, like, whenever all this is over in a few years' time, like, I don't know, maybe my grandkids would be like, what was Granny up to? Like, you know?
I hope we never see this again. Serious. Can you imagine this coming back in another 5 years?
Yeah. Usually with something like this, if it did happen again, it'd maybe be in a decade's time, you know? Next 2 years should be tough enough, like from any past research on stuff like that. That's how long it usually takes for everything to calm down. But even then, like Spanish flu was going on till 1960. Like it was just a lot rarer, you know. So it just,
You never know. For me, anyway, like the creativity, I guess, like, because I've always been, like, I'm not a good guitar player. I'm like a mediocre guitar player. Like, I'm not into the solos, none of that. I'm just kind of basic as basic can be. So, but I feel like with the older riffs I used to write, it was just too basic. I was like, yeah, I guess they were catchy, kind of catchy. But now I'm just kind of trying to make it sound a bit more unique and just kind of a bit different. But like by kind of making it slightly tougher on myself and everybody else in the band. So
Yeah.
Well, for me, like it's hard to like write a bass line when you don't have any drums to listen to, so that sucks.
Blame it on me.
Yeah, so you know it's hard because like I can hear what David's recording and playing, and you know like I can figure out what note goes where and what key we're in and stuff like that. But like Pat can't record his electric kit because it's a piece of crap. Like, but so yeah, it's I don't know. Like I have the ideas of like what note we're in for when we get back into the what note to play once we get back in the band room. But I wouldn't actually say I have any of my parts wrote or anything yet.
Yeah, no, I'm the very same as Shane. Just the electric kit. It doesn't cut it, and like it's grand. I still practice daily, but I've been kind of focusing on and not just improving my playing. I guess kind of making sure I'm a lot neater when I play, and kind of trying to perfect a lot of fills and rolls and rudiments and stuff like that. But when it comes to actually writing music, it's difficult. Like I know a good tradesmen shouldn't blame us tools, but it's just I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna blame the kit.
It's the tools, pa.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what? It's not
Tools.
only just the tools, but like you're a duo in a rhythm. Like you actually do genuinely need each other to create. Do you know what I mean? And you shouldn't think that you don't, you know, because the two of you are basically the rhythm. So like it is very difficult to work off that without the energy, especially if you're so used to being very close in a group together, because you feel each other a lot more than you probably realize. Like the reason you work
Absolutely.
together is the energy as well as the sound, you know. So I can completely understand how it would be harder from your point of view. Whereas with writing lyrics and playing guitar, they are things that you kind of work around. Like, so even though a band kind of works all together, all the components need to kind of fit in somewhere. So it would be a lot harder for the rhythm, and that's something I hadn't really considered until right now. So I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's like I guess we still haven't figured out a way to okay, well, like Dave writes a riff, and then on to Shane, but kind of without proper real drums, we're seriously held back, you know. And again, Pat, it's not you, it's not your kid, it's nothing like that.
I
You
know.
know what I
Don't
mean?
worry.
Absolutely not. You know what I mean? But hey, here we are. As far as I'm concerned, you know, we'll figure ways if we have to. If this keeps up.
Hey, look, you've got an EP coming out on Saturday. That's pretty big news. Look, lockdown didn't slow you down. And that
Yeah.
means people have way more time to listen to your stuff as well. So I'll make sure that this interview goes up tonight and you guys can share it on your own page, and then people might have even more awareness, okay?
Excellent.
Thank
So
you.
I'll stop recording and I'll get back to chatting to you just 1 second. Oh yeah,
All
if
right,
you like
thanks.
this, subscribe to Viking Promotions YouTube and the page because you'll get more interviews. Thanks.